right. Well, welcome back to Chris Frank Games,
A
a
high
video,
energy podcast.
yeah, very very chill podcast, a video game podcast for your listening pleasure. No cost, no ads.
Yeah. It's free. We're not going to tell you to get Audible. Like, hey, you want to get some freaking books like every other podcast tells you?
Mhm.
Get some
Although,
books.
although I would love to have Audible sponsor us, and
Sponsored by your local library. Go
yeah,
to the local library. There's books. They're free. And you can jack off to porn on the computer for a couple minutes before they kick you out. I mean, depending on how private the computer area is. I don't know. They're probably watching the like hawks. Just don't do it in my library. I got kids.
well, dude, that's a complete 180, I guess, huh? That's you realizing what you're actually saying. You're like, let me just put a bow on this and
Yeah.
finish this up. But
Yeah.
but yes, this is a video game podcast, not pedophiles masturbating in libraries.
Well, they're
Podcast.
not pedophiles, but you still don't want kids to see
Uh,
that.
oh yeah, I guess.
You
And my
can't get
name
on
is
the
Chris.
dark web. You can't get on the dark web at
All right,
those
all right,
public
trying to move
libraries.
on, Frank. All right, I'm trying to
Okay,
move.
sorry.
All right, no, my name is Chris Stotts, and we got Frank White here. Frank, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. I guess the cold medicine is making me loopy. That'll be my excuse.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're always. It's always fun to have you on because as a father, you of two young kids, you always have the latest and greatest virus infection and
Yeah.
cold going on. So, what talk about what's the latest games. Frank, what's the latest germs? What's going on here? What do we got? The flu? Got the cold flu?
Just colds, and then also we made the mistake of giving the baby. He's almost at the point where he can like switch over to cow milk, but he had a little 2% the other night, and that resulted in him puking into my pockets.
Jeez.
Like he filled one of my pant pockets. I mean, not like filled to the brim, but like I'm like there's puke in my pocket. Luckily, my phone was in my other pocket at the time.
Yeah,
So,
it's a good thing baby puke kind of smells good. At least when they're younger. I don't know about full
well, it
time.
doesn't smell good. It's just not as like acidic.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this is an amazing podcast about video games.
Yeah. Exactly. All the
Keep listening,
teens.
folks.
All the teens are like, wow, I can really relate to all
Yeah,
this
this
stuff.
is we're gonna call this the Chris Frank Video Games and Emotional Birth Control Podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Kids are all gonna be vol cells.
hmm All right. Well, we do have. We don't have too much to talk about, but we do have video games to talk about, including some video game news and some video games that we've been playing. Including, I'm gonna tease this. I played the Resident Evil 2 demo
Nice.
on the PS4. So I'm assuming you did not play this, right? Because you're actually gonna get the game.
Yeah. I
So
was just like, man, I'm gonna play that half hour myself anyway later. It's
yeah.
probably not super different.
Yeah, well, there's nothing really to spoil, but I'm not going to spoil anything. But yeah, I'll just give my impressions
Mm,
blah blah blah. Do you got anything to tease for the games you've been playing?
Not really.
Okay, there you go.
More
All right.
Prey. That's about it. I managed to get some Prey done this week,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, that's
All right.
the extent of it.
All right, there you go. All right, just just turn the show off. Then that's fine, folks. Just nothing to tease. The news kind of sucks this week, anyways, too. So just move on. There's
We're
probably
not going to
better
take up a lot
podcasts.
of your time. This
Yeah,
would be easy breezy.
I guess. All right, we're Frank does want to make this a short show, so we should. All right, so we're gonna start off with the pretty much the big story. This actually hit like last week, Friday, and people just kind of talking about. Not, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, probably not the biggest thing in the world, but the salacious details is what's the interesting part. Of course, we're talking about the Gearbox Software Palace Intrigue lawsuits that are flying all over the place. I believe it was a few months ago that we were talking about this, how their former counsel was fired and charged with espionage and racking up credit cards. Not espionage, but embezzlement and racking up credit cards and whatnot. Well, that gentleman, who was a former good friend of Randy Pitchford, who I should say, he created one of my favorite games of all time, so I will always have a soft spot for Randy Pitchford. So so I do have some bias here, which is by the way, Brothers in Arms. By the way, that's one of my favorite games of all time. Anyway, so the former counsel of this guy did a countersuit alleging a lot of misdeeds. I guess so-called misdeeds, including getting a $12 million advance on royalties for like him privately, like a private bonus or something like that. I'm not really sure any of this stuff works, but I guess from the outlook of things, or from the outside looking in, it looks kind of bad. But I mean, I'm sure it's illegal, right? I mean, I'm sure corporation's not going to go into that contract with them if it's illegal.
From what I understand about how the world is for rich people, everything they do is kind of in a gray zone, and like sometimes they'll try to use that against each other in the palace intrigue. But for the most part, it is wrong and immoral, but not necessarily illegal. That's pretty much how you can describe it.
Well, I think he said, hey, give me a $12 million loan, and then when we actually make the royalties, you guys can take it out of that. But then people are like, well, he stole money from his employees. Well, I think he's still...
yeah, it's called being a boss.
Than $12
That's
million
like
bucks.
what they do.
Yeah. So, and by the way, I'm sure the employees weren't getting all that money either, by the way. So, all right. And then, of course, the most salacious detail, which is, unverified, and if we were actually responsible news people, we probably actually wouldn't actually discuss it. But
was this the medieval times thing?
Yeah, he alleged that he left a USB. We have to talk about this, Frank. There's no.
Yeah, no. This is the only part of this story that I actually care about.
Yeah, so he left a USB. Apparently, he left a USB thumb drive, at a Medieval Times in Austin or Dallas or wherever all these guys are located, which not only included like board shareholder 2K board shareholder data or whatever, or like board member data, stuff like that, and financial data, but allegedly a bunch of pornography videos, clips on the thumb drive.
Underage? I didn't hear underage. I sort of was like he had like recordings of cam girls on the same USB drive as important business files that he left at Medieval Times of all places. Like that's what really cinches that as a story for me. That he left it at Medieval Times.
Yeah. Well, I think the dude's counter lawsuit says it's underage, but like of course Randy and Gearbox is vehemently denied. And it's funny because around the same time that this was alleged, he was on a podcast with I guess Penn Jillette, talking about like a cam girl who is accomplished squirter, I would believe would be the phrase. So accomplished that she's not just
I love the news.
She's a freaking magician. That's what Randy Pitchford is quoted as saying. So that seems to kind of match up.
That's almost up there with like the shooting ping pong balls.
Yeah. But oh, and then he does mention that she was barely legal too. So, but if someone and apparently the thumb drive was found by an employee, but like if there was underage porn, you think they would have taken it to the police and he would have been arrested?
Yeah, but
or something like
but
that,
you can't like you're like, hey, look, first of all, is the employee actually going to plug the thumb drive in? Because here's some OPSEC for you guys. Don't plug in random thumb drives you find. It's not smart to do. So, assuming that someone did like take the risk and plug it in, it's not like the borderline underage cam girls have like signs that with their ages.
Yeah, how do you verify that? I don't think they put their driver's license.
Yeah, it's the stream doesn't start at age 1, and then you can't start jacking it until 18 years later.
Yeah, you make a good point. Maybe Pitchford was just trying to steal the fried chicken recipe.
Yeah.
From medieval
and
times.
Like barely legal is just a term that like for which is like this is a whole other issue of creepiness, but it would be hard to make that particular call. And I feel like that's distracting from just the overall like thumb drive of porn and video game company secrets found at Medieval Times.
Yeah, it's just kind of a funny story, right? I mean, nothing really. Again, it's just nothing to do with the real world except for these two guys' lives. But
God, I accidentally left the gold CD for Alien Colonial Marines and my dildo at the Renaissance Fair.
That's a good excuse. Dog ate my homework. Left the thumb drive at medieval times. Have
Yeah.
you been to a medieval times, Frank? By the way.
No, but every time I go to Chicago, I have to drive by one, and it's like super duper tempting. But I don't want to get off the toll road because then I gotta like, sure I can go to medieval times, so I gotta pay the toll again to get back on the road.
Just wait for the kids to get a little older, and then a good excuse. Yeah, I don't. I was gonna ask you like, where even is the medieval times in the Midwest? But there's one in L.A. and I've not been there, but I've heard it's
Yeah,
pretty fun. So
I'm gonna go see some jousting.
you should be able to like joust. You know, sign a waiver. Why not? Put your hand up for it.
Maybe that's how he lost the thumb drive. It got knocked out of his pockets while he was getting knocked on his ass from the
There you go.
joust.
He was wanking out the horse or something like that. So,
Yeah,
no.
there's just pickpockets everywhere for verisimilitude.
Thief. He was doing research for Thief, the video game.
There's this little elf dude, and he stole my thumb drive, and I kept kicking him, but just little blue potion bottles kept popping out of him. That's not Gearbox. That's Golden Axe.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. When it was camping. Exactly. All right. So we were talking about this last week, Frank. You were talking about this news story about Unity and Spatial OS.
Oh yes.
And,
Oh yeah. What's the name of the actual company? The Spatial
Improbable.
OS is like the yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
something
improbable
like
or irresponsible.
that. Improbable. Yes, improbable.
Well, it kind of had just broken as we were recording, and basically, now I still don't understand any of this crap. But some spatial is some sort of add-on to Unity, or it's like a middleware thing for like
Yeah,
server software.
for multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, and was basically saying that Unity was going to discontinue their license, and all games using spatial on Unity were going to be affected and no longer multiplayer available. Well, not spatial, but Unity came out maybe like a day or a couple hours later, actually, said these guys ain't telling the whole story. These guys have been in violations of our term of service for a long time. We warned them a year ago. We warned them 6 months ago. And now they're acting like we're just pulling this out of thin air. And basically saying all games that are currently using spatial are fine, but going forward, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know the rest of this. But, yeah.
Well, yeah, we were talking about last week of like, it's hard to tell who's the asshole here.
Yeah.
Probably everyone.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's just, I think these guys are using some Unity back-end stuff and making money off it, and then Unity's not getting a cut of it. I think that's basically what it comes down to.
There's actually been more developments since yesterday. So we are on the beat for this particular story because this is all stuff that happened.
Anything about? We're right on top of the pulse.
Yeah, because this is all stuff that happened like yesterday and today. But Unity backed off. So Unity has relaxed their terms of service because it was like a term of service change that they had done. And they were like, all right, we've changed the terms of service. You guys are now in violation. So, yeah, that was what kind of started the whole thing. And like, yeah, and then I guess Unity was like, no, we've been warning these guys for a while. Yeah, so they've relaxed it a little bit now and reinstated Improbable's license. So everything goes back to normal. Basically, yeah. Story over.
Yep.
So the only people who come out really like smelling sour out of this were, God, was it Epic again? God, yeah, I can't remember.
Epic. And they offer like a $225 million fund.
Yeah, like they jumped on that so fast, and we're like, okay, you're clearly just like advertising and trying to poach here.
Yeah. And then we got our think pieces about how Epic is such a nimble company and all this stuff. Okay, all right.
But yeah, so status quo has returned. Everybody, stop panicking.
Yep. Yeah, all you Unity developers out there that listen to us with bated breath,
yeah,
you guys can go back to work. Go back to work.
Yeah, we're on the pulse of it, but anyone who's actually affected is like paying even closer attention.
Yeah, you guys are idiots. You have no idea what you're talking about. You basically said the wrong thing every single word you said. So, all right. Well, here is not a lie. Black Ops, the Call of Duty Battle Royale is free for the weekend or the week or something like that. I think it's the weekend. So you can download it and play it. And actually, I did download it. It's actually not like the whole game, but it's still like 50 gigs. So that's still freaking annoying. But yeah, it's basically like its own like game, like free demo or whatever. So I've not tried it because I want to actually spend some real time. So just only playing like 2 hours or not 2 hours, but like 2 games. So next week I will get my impressions. But yeah, I mean that's pretty interesting that they go for free. I mean,
Well,
is that telling you that the sales are really not moving? So all the people that are waiting, I don't know.
who knows? Or they're just like, you know, doing a loss leader kind of thing to make up market share.
Yeah, or
Could be a
maybe
confidence thing. Like we're so confident that people are gonna love our particular battle royale mode that we're gonna let them play it for free for a weekend or a week.
yeah, well,
Get them hooked. Give them
or
a taste.
because here's a thought: because PUBG came out for the PS4 and had huge sales. Maybe they're like, well, all right, so now you guys see this. Well, here's a game that actually runs 60 frames and actually like
Yeah.
looks good. So try this. So
Well,
I don't know. Who
I
knows?
think it could just be a sign that the industry is continuing to get more and more cutthroat as more and more like, you know, only play this games kind of come out, you know, because AAA has been like that for a while now of like we're trying to make games that are going to keep people engaged for long periods of time. I mean, not necessarily in one session, but like that you'll keep coming back to it in lieu of buying other games. So,
Yep, spending your money elsewhere, and that's actually a big part of Battlefield 5, which I will talk about in the games we've been playing. So, all right, Black Ops. I mean, would you any interest, Frank, trying it out?
um, you know what? I'm not interested, but I doubt I'll be able to get around to downloading a 50 gig game.
All right,
Uh,
got that fiber over there. Got that fiber.
yeah, but I don't know how much space I have left with Red Dead Redemption on
Dude,
there.
I had to delete stuff from my PS4 Pro for the first time today to download Black Ops. I was a little pissed off. I was a little annoyed. Not good.
Yeah,
Do you have
I haven't reached that point yet because I like.
yeah, do you have 2 terabytes for yours? Do you know?
No, but it was bigger than what I had with my non PS4 Pro, so it got
Yeah.
bigger.
I think
And
mine's just
then,
one.
I kind of went nuts at first, and then, uh, like, so I've still got like the PS Plus, the free version of like Mafia 3 sitting on my hard drive that I haven't even fired up yet.
Yeah, that's like 50 gigs right there, right? Or something
Yeah, and
like
I'm gonna be sad if I have to delete that for something else, and I'm like, oh, I never even got around to it.
Just think about like all the. I mean, I know it's just bits and electrical ones and zeros, but just think about all the time, it took to move that onto your drive, and you're just gonna delete it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
all the energy used more than like in the year 1150 probably ever consumed.
Yeah.
Took more electricity.
Yeah, I've thought about that sometimes, but like, yeah, I'm sure that's super duper hard to calculate, like the energy costs of stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Like,
how much energy are we wasting, like, with
what's the
auto
carbon
updates
footprint?
turned on Steam games that we don't play anymore?
Yeah, what's the carbon footprint, right? I mean, it's electricity,
Yeah.
you know. All right, there we go.
It's not free.
If we were younger and smarter, we would actually maybe figure that out. All right. All right, and then well, here's a kind of a news story that didn't really shock too many people. I guess when they first heard it, a Star Wars game being made by EA is having problems. And Kotaku's Jason
Cursed.
Schreier reported that the EA open world game that was being made in Vancouver by, is it Visceral? I'm not really sure because I don't know any of these studios or anything. It's just too many.
Well, I
too
think
confusing.
I don't think it's called Visceral
The old
anymore,
one,
but
right?
it's like people from Visceral.
Or Motive? Is it Motive? I think that's the name of it, right? Is that
Yeah.
something familiar? Anyways, apparently it was going to be this giant open world type game, and it wasn't expected to be released until like 2022 or 23 or something like that. And EA was like, "Hey, we need to get something out sooner than that. Let's scale down the scope quite a bit." So that did not get canceled. It just got, I'm sure, it got more focused or pared down.
It's probably going to be a better game. We don't need any more open world games. Like you
Yeah.
can dial it back, guys. I'm
Yeah.
totally fine with that.
Yep, and didn't they just have Galaxy? I mean, don't just make Galaxies, right? With better controls and better graphics. Some. Yeah. So and then everyone, of course, is jumping down on EA, saying, "Oh, they can't ship a Star Wars game," and blah 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 blah. And of course, Battlefront One. And then here's the thing: Battlefront One and Battlefront Two were massive successes. I think Battlefront, the first Battlefront, like, is one of the best selling games for for this gen. It's like in the top 10 for sure. So. But yeah, I mean, I guess it just goes to show you that shipping like a AAA, like big budget, it's tough. It's freaking tough. By the way, they've canceled a couple Star Wars movies too. By the way, so it's not just EA. So.
Well, somebody at some point is going to figure out that when we hit peak like Star Wars saturation. I still haven't watched Solo, even though it's on Netflix now.
I haven't watched that either.
It's like, yeah, we just kind of hit peak Star Wars, and I'm not going to make any friends here, but I think my conclusion was that, I'm not sure like Star Wars was ever really that great.
Just be quiet. Just be quiet. Just be quiet. You can say that about Return of the Jedi, but the first two films are really great. Okay, and then also, did you see that GIF? Not that GIF, but the picture that they had of all the Star Wars games that came out like in 2003 to 2007 or something like that. It was like 12, and they're really good ones, and most of them were made by like LucasArts and stuff like that. And then like it showed like 2 made by EA or something like that. So
yeah,
it was,
well, let's do another. I want another Shadows of the Empire or
Dark
Knights
Forces.
of the Old Republic. Yeah, Dark Forces.
Remake Dark Forces 2. And everyone's saying what Dark Forces 1, but no. Dark Forces 2 was the superior product.
I don't think I ever played that.
Give me another rogue leader.
Oh,
give me a flight sim. I mean, we got this VR thing. What's going on with that? Right? Yeah.
Just pick any given aspect of Battlefront and then make a polished like single player experience around it rather than
use the same engine. Yeah, you got the assets. What more do you need? What's taking so long?
Tweak the controls. Yeah. Exactly. Have some scripted chase sequences. I don't know. Just make a goddamn Star Wars game already.
Amy Hennig already tried that and it didn't work. Too expensive. All right. And then really quick, Xbox, Microsoft announced that PUBG is going to be available on the Game Pass. So, if you want to pay $10 a month to play PUBG, you're more than welcome.
You probably get other stuff too. But
yeah, for sure. That's, geez, it's almost like there's too many games on this thing now. I mean, if you had this thing, like, where would you even start?
Yeah.
For God's sakes,
It's just a problem in general.
I guess this is really for. I mean, do you look at this and like have any like envy? Do you wish like PlayStation had something this?
Not really, because I've only ever been like vaguely aware of what it actually is.
Yeah.
So I'm hey, I got something. You can pay a monthly fee. There's things.
Yeah, it's basically Netflix for games, and then the big thing is that you get their first party games day one. So that's the big thing. But I mean, they're adding a shit ton of games from last gen and this gen. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure for some people it's great who just want to play a bunch of games. But like for me, I usually there's only a couple games a year that I actually purchase. I'm pretty selective, so I just don't like to play games just to play games. I will.
I've got enough. I could completely stop buying video games, and I would probably be able to entertain myself with video games for quite a while.
Yeah.
Especially with time constraints these days.
And you would just want to play Dark Souls over again anyway, so right? The trilogy.
Well, I never went ahead and I kind of petered out halfway through the remaster. Like I bought it and I played it and then just kind of lost interest.
Oh, dang. All right.
Well, I mean, it's a game I'd literally gotten the platinum trophy on before and played through like a half dozen times. So
yeah.
It's like doing it one more time with a better frame rate. I was like, and it's got a better frame rate. Well, I have more kids now. So
yeah, well, the baby's crying. All right.
Yeah.
Big thing, big deal. All right, so that was all the news I had for this week. Do you have anything
Not
for
really,
us?
but speaking of the babies crying, I've been watching Game Informer's Sekiro Shadows Die Twice coverage this week. They've been doing a lot of exclusive stuff. Um, and they were talking about, yeah, since it doesn't have like the online elements from Dark Souls, you can pause it.
Hmm.
Not that actually, like Dark Souls was, unless you like were getting invaded or fighting a boss, was actually pretty easy to just park your ass in a corner and then go change a diaper. But yeah, it's gonna be nice to have a pausable game.
Nice.
Slightly more convenient.
That's coming in February, right? Pretty soon.
March.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you what; those guys can ship games. They're pretty much every 2 years they're shipping a game, right? For the
Yeah.
most, but this is the B team though, also, right? I'm being heard.
No, I think it's most of the A guys.
Oh,
It's
is it?
most of the
Okay.
Bloodborne guys, which is
Okay.
which is why there's no like wild rumors about Bloodborne 2 right now because everyone's like, I think they're waiting for to finish up Sekiro. So
What do you
yeah,
want?
they uh they ship games and yeah, and apparently the demo stuff they've been showing is like very polished for like press demos. Usually when you're playing a preview build of a game, you gotta accommodate for random bugs and stuff. But I remember everyone saying how like it was basically a vertical slice like demo that could be released to the public practically.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what would you rather have? The samurai kind of Bloodborne type of game or Bloodborne 2?
Uh
It's gotta be the new one,
I
right?
yeah, I mean, I guess as I really really like Bloodborne, I would have to lean that way, but uh I don't know how I'm gonna feel about the pretty wild changes to the that it's not a Souls game anymore. You don't lose your no longer do you lose experience for dying. There's no corpse runs or bloodstain runs or anything like that. So uh, in some ways, it's a more conventional game, but we'll see.
All right, there
I'm
you
still excited about it. It looks cool. It looks lots of stabbing
go.
people up.
Nice, nice. There you go. All right, cool. All right, so that's the news for this week. We will take a quick break and be back with the games we have been playing. All right, I'm pretty good. You all good?
Yeah. Just let me blow my nose. Yeah. Out, out, damn snot. That's a Shakespeare reference while blowing the
Yeah.
nose. We gotta mix the high and the low brow. Okay.
Yeah, your humor kind of shifts when you got kids, toddlers running around. Huh? All right. Okay, we're back, and have a couple games. But Frank, why don't you go first? Tell us what you got.
Yeah, it's been pretty laid back lately. I've been watching movies, which always like kills. Like I could watch a movie or I could play games tonight. It's
Hmm.
definitely not both. But so I've been continuing on with Prey. Um, it's weird. It's a game I liked it. I like it, but I'm able to put it down because I'm one of those people who tends to get like a little obsessed and super into like a game I'm playing that I really like, and like have a hard time. Like I have to finish it before I can really move on to something else. But Prey has been weird because I have not been disliking it, but I've been totally fine like putting it down for weeks at a time and then picking it back up. So it's nice that the controls aren't like crazy complicated, but I'm at the point where I've actually bumped into a bunch of alive people, and there was kind of an interesting like get ready for a big fight scene where you can like set up turrets but you have to have kind of a large battle with NPCs and enemies to progress, which is a cool idea. But all the enemies kind of like bottlenecked, and I planned too far ahead. I put my turrets up, I laid down like proximity mines, And then once the door opened, I threw recycler grenades in, and pretty much took them all out almost instantaneously, and was a little underwhelmed. But
Yeah,
oh
I
well.
remember. I remember that scene, and yeah, for some reason, I don't think it worked very well. I don't think the scripting works very well, and I think I opened a door too early or something because I was trying to kill them, but I opened the door to try to kill them, and they were like, "No, why did you open up the door?" And I like failed the mission or something like that.
Oh,
So
well, yeah,
kind of
like
annoying.
you have to put 3 turrets down before they will be happy with you opening the door.
Oh, okay. And you have to
In that,
find the turrets, right? Because they're like hidden
yeah,
somewhere.
like you're in. You just have to find there's 3 turrets like within the area that you are in without load screens.
Yeah.
And like one of them needs to be repaired, and like one of them's like kind of tucked away. But I managed to find them, and yeah, so I did it, and then we just demolished those guys. And I have to say, I really enjoy the concept and execution of the recycler grenade, of just turning an enemy into raw materials with a gravity well.
Yeah,
But
it's basically like a little mini black hole that
yeah,
breaks everything down to like its bare molecules and shit, and it gives you like these chunks of stuff. So yeah, the whole recycling system in that game is pretty because it actually gives you an excuse to like go through
yeah,
everything
yeah.
basically, right?
It's not like BioShock where you're like, I guess I'm just eating this candy from the garbage can.
Yeah,
Uh, and Yeah, I mean, it's getting a little light on the challenge front, because I feel like at this point, even though uh, I haven't actually used any or like obtained any of the alien powers, because I thought there was going to be like a trophy for like not using any alien powers, but it turns out that the trophy is for doing a run each way. So you have to play through the whole game again, only using alien powers. And I'm like, oh, actually, that kind of sucks. So I will probably break my no alien powers rule next time I play the game and try some of those out. Um, but yeah, having just pumped so much stuff into like my shotgun doing damage, and uh, it's a little too effective. And then like all the rest of my points are just going into like the hacking and lifting things so that I can like get into every nook and cranny for resources, because the game really like, I mean, with the quality of life stuff they do with the recycling is nice, but it really plays up my video game hoarder habits. I have so many health packs and so many suit
mm,
repair packs right now, and I just run up to every enemy and activate my slow mo extra damage mode and just unload 10 shotgun shells into their face. So
yeah,
yeah, at this point the game can really only throw easy things or completely unbeatable things at me. Like if the game threw a challenge at me, it would be like just overwhelming. So like, what's this? Something I can't take out with a shotgun clip and uh, the one round of my power. That's kind of a slow cooldown, so you do have to retreat. But I don't know. I should maybe try stealth. It's an interesting game with all the paths you can take. But like most of those games, taking the simplest path tends to be most effective. It's bringing me memories of System Shock 2, of like, this game has a lot of cool things I could be doing, but none of them are as effective as just training up my assault rifle skill and shooting everybody with bullets. So,
yeah. Doing the
uh,
turrets never really worked for me. Like programming, it never really killed anything. Or when you got there, the aliens had already knocked them
yeah,
over. So
I've run into that, and it's kind of bugging me. Of like, yeah, it's like there's turrets around, but they're smashed, and you fix them up, and then no enemies are around, and then you come back to that area later, and the enemies have respawned, and the turrets are just smashed because the turrets never got to kill anybody because all of this happened like between load screens. So yeah, so I've repaired a bunch of turrets only to see them like never fire a bullet, and then sometimes later just be smashed between cutscenes. But uh, oh well, I should just plow through the story so that I can get to Moon Crash, because Moon Crash kind of forces you to use different builds. So we'll see.
yeah, yeah. I would like to try Moon Crash, but it's like, yeah, I don't know if I can spend $15. But it'll probably it probably was $5, and I just missed it. But But I don't know. Also, it's like, man, I'm gonna jump. Do you want to jump back into Prey after not playing it for like a year? Like, oh, get the shitty controls and the shitty enemies again, right? No, but
Yeah, the shooting isn't great, but having the slow mo ability really helps with that, especially with the little mimic guys running around.
yeah, yeah. I would just go to
You're too
wrench.
fast. I'm just gonna slow down time.
Most annoying freaking things. Yeah. All right. Okay. So really quick, couple games. Battlefield 5 had their big kind of patch Tuesday, and then kind of their live service update actually this morning. The patch improved some things, like big things like footsteps. You hear footsteps a lot louder now. People are complaining about it, but actually I really like it because you can hear people like running up to you. And people are saying it's way too loud, but I think it's good being able to hear your footsteps. And another point is like vaulting. Vaulting is like way easier and way smoother, and putting your what do you call it, your bipod for your rifles way smoother. So that's cool. But there's also quite a bunch of other bugs that have been introduced, and none of them are like super game breaking. But it's just really funny like how they do all these patches and then dice just a bunch of other stuff just kind of breaks. So the new mod is it's called Squad Conquest, which is Conquest, but it's only got 2 squads on each team, so a total of 16 players, and it's only 3 points. And it's a little bit slower, a little bit more strategic. I think, so again, some people are saying it's not really not that fun, but if you have a good squad, it's pretty fun. And I think the big problem is that you can spawn on these squad points. I'm not squad points, but you can spawn on these checkpoints. But I don't think they actually design it like that, because on the description of the mode, they say you can only spawn on your HQ, meaning you have to cross the map to get to these points, meaning that being a squad and healing everyone and staying alive is way more important and vital. So I think it was just kind of a glitch that it was like turned off instead of being turned on or whatever. So it'd be interesting to see if they could fix that in the next couple of days, like a back end glitch. And the other day I was I just started playing, and I was playing with some actual Germans speaking German, and I was like, wow, these are some serious cosplayers here. playing the German, speaking German. It's pretty nice. I did take a little German in high school, and I actually I remember surprisingly a good amount. Actually, I don't think I can't make sentences, but I know phrases still. So there you go. I'm proud.
Wall SWC.
Well, do. That's who are you? Okay, and then the live service, which is making these like weekly challenges and all that stuff. They rolled that out. And I mean, it's fun because it gives you a reason to come back and play, and maybe it's only for a couple hours or whatever, but it's definitely it's fun stuff. You unlock stuff, so it's cool. I like how they're doing it, so it's good stuff. All right, and then so Resident Evil 2. This of course is a remake of the classic PS1 and 64 game. Was it ever on the Saturn? It never came on the Saturn, right? Is that correct?
God, I don't remember from the DF Retro thing.
Yeah, I
It
don't think so.
probably did.
Yeah, I don't think so on the PC. So I briefly played this on the PlayStation, the original PlayStation. I don't remember why I stopped, because I don't think I actually owned it. I think a friend owned it or whatever. Or maybe I didn't like the control. I don't know exactly why. So yeah, so I don't have a lot of history of this game, but people say it's the best Resident Evil. I mean, it's Resident Evil 4. It's Resident Evil 2 with Resident Evil 4 controls and graphics. I mean, obviously better graphics. So, yeah. Resident Evil 4, actually, one of my favorite it is without question my favorite Resident Evil game. So, yeah, playing this, and, it's a 30-minute demo, right? So I'm like, okay, where's the guns? Let me start shooting some zombies and all this stuff. But then after a while, you're walking around in a quiet, like, room and all this stuff, and, there's some puzzles, like there's some locks with like a spade on there, or like an ace, and then there's like a something that's taped up and you can't like read. It's like a light box that's taped up and you can't get inside of it. And then it just felt really comfortable. It felt really it's like, okay, this is a Resident Evil game. It's not these stupid action ones where you're shooting Africans like 6 and 5 or whatever those other ones were. It's a Resident Evil game. It felt great. I don't know. DF did a video on this one as well. I don't think the graphics are as good as Resident Evil 7. I think because they have the character model on this one because 7 was a first person, right? So I think, and it's really
Yeah.
detailed. It's a really detailed model. So I don't think the environments are quite as good as Resident Evil 7, even though I never even played that one. But from screenshots and video and all that stuff, I think that one looks better. And I don't think it looks exactly 60 frames per second. I mean, DF was saying it was pretty much 60 frames, but I don't know. For me, it didn't look exactly 100% correct. But I don't know. Again, this is just a demo. So, but I mean, all in all, I mean, if you loved Resident Evil 4, I mean, it felt great, and again, it felt like an old shoe, putting on like an old shoe. So it's exactly what you want. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, I'm very excited about they finally released screenshots of Tofu Survivor mode.
Oh yeah.
For those of you not in the know, you could play. So and well, they had Hunk too. Everyone likes Hunk, which so I think they're kind of sort of following the format because the original Resident Evil 2 had the A story, B story thing. So you played through the game twice. And then the A story was kind of the main story. And then like whichever character you didn't do for the A story would then do the B story, which is in most of the same environments, but like you're coming in from different waves. And like at one point in the middle of the story, you like directly interact with each other. And like you can actually like the A story could leave an item for the B story. And then after you beat the game, you could play through it with a like a truncated version as like a Umbrella Special Forces dude. So you like you're trying to retrieve stuff from stuff. So you know it's like the end of what you're doing there is like a beginning area for the main game kind of thing, and it's much shorter. And it's supposed to be like kind of a challenge mode, like lots of enemies, not a lot of ammo. But then after that, they had the Tofu Survivor mode, where it's the same campaign as Hunk, the fourth survivor. It's like an acronym or something, so it's like HUNK. I don't know what it is. But where you did it as a sentient block of tofu with a knife. So you had to do the thing only with a knife. And then your character is a block of tofu. And I'm just very excited to see that they brought it back and like really, really lovingly rendered the block of tofu. Like it glistens and it's got that like kind of stamped texture that extra firm tofu has. So
what happens?
Excited about that. I'm weirdly excited about that.
What happens when a zombie like bites the tofu? Does it is it delicious? Does it taste satisfying?
I don't know.
How do you animate that on the tofu?
Yeah, it's well, I think in the original game it was basically just like the animations were all the same, and the character model was just like the tofu kind of hovering there. I hope now, yeah, like you get bites chunks taken out of you. That would be cool.
Yeah,
we shall see.
Yep. Okay, so what? That game is coming out at the end of the month, right? So yeah, I mean, if you liked Resident Evil 4, I mean, I think this is like a must buy for the most part. I'm not like a huge Resident Evil fan, but yeah, I think it's pretty safe bet for sure. So okay, cool. All right, so that's it. That's the show.
Alrighty.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and help us spread the word, spread the gospel.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, smash that like button.
Break it off.
And like there's notifications. You know, you notice all these people are always like hit the bell so you get a notification.
Yeah, that was really annoying.
Yeah, it's like, hey asshole, I don't need to be notified when you publish a YouTube video. All right, I'll check it out when I want to. Okay, I don't need fucking Pavlov.
Yeah, but that was like what subscribing was. Like, yeah, I don't understand what the bell is for, because it was like, yeah, if I wanted all that stuff to be at the top of my recommendations and my feed and stuff, like that's why I subscribed to it.
I think a bell gives you like a 1 over your like your YouTube name on the top, or it sends you an email saying someone posted a video. It's like I don't need that, homie. Okay, I got subscriptions. I check my subscription feed. That's enough. These people think like I need a notification to know you posted a video. It's like, okay, dude, your numbers suck because you suck. It's nothing to do with the notification. All right. Okay. All right.
The phone needs to buzz very loudly to let you know that, I don't know, some alt-right Nazi has a video about feminists.
Yeah.
Really wants you to watch.
Smash that like button. Okay, all right. So that's it. So for Frank White, my name is Chris Stotts. It's been Chris Frank Games. See you guys next week.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.